Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Three-Sided Box Prediction Center. One more week of football passed, and I think this one's brought to us by 5 Gum, because we're all 5-8 or 5-9 or whatever our record was allowed to be, because the Colts had a bye week. I was 5-9.
Yeah,
Michael was 5-8.
5-8.
Yeah, so
5-8, 5-9.
So I have the most losses for the week. I took some risky picks. And I'm going to make up for it this week, though, with a perfect record, obviously.
Let's see.
So we'll move on to the first game, which I'm sure will be difficult to pick. This is the Tennessee Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Irrelevant Bowl. Who makes these meetings on prime time in Thursday night? I mean, they couldn't go with something more storyline oriented. Anyway,
book it.
Yeah,
book it. Damn it.
Yeah, book it. Who you got, Mike?
I'm gonna pick the Jags. I'm gonna go with they had a big win last week.
Mm-hmm.
They're at home, prime time, if you could consider Thursday night prime time, but
it is. It's semi-prime time.
Yeah. I'm liking what Bortles is doing. I like both Allens, Allen Robinson, Allen Hurns. I like those guys, and I pick them to win against the Titans team. That's pretty, coming along. Even though the record doesn't say so, they're playing pretty good defense, but got the Jags coming out.
I'm going to say this. The Jaguars don't win at home, so I'm picking the Titans. That's it.
That's all.
That's all.
Simple.
That's my whole argument. I don't care who's playing. Titans.
I'm just going to go out and say that the Jags are still the Jags. Mm-hmm. They are better than in years past, but they're still god-awful. Mm-hmm. The Titans have a good quarterback. They got a decent team. They're just not playing up to their standard. Or what they should be playing, I guess, in the coming years, hopefully. So I'm just going to say Titans just because the Jags are the Jags.
Good
analysis.
Good analysis there. So we'll see how the Irrelevant Bowl plays out. Hopefully we don't have too many of these this week. Let's move on to next week.
Alright, so looks like Irrelevant Bowl 2 is already upon us.
Hopefully we don't have too many of these this week.
We got the Oakland Raiders in Detroit to play the Lions. This guy can't pick. It's the rule. Who do you have?
I'm going to call this the Crime Bowl. Cause,
that's very accurate.
Or the Crumbling City Bowl. Or the Disgusting Franchise Bowl.
Or the Silver Bowl.
Yeah, or the Silver Bowl. This is probably one of the more difficult choices. Lions played a good game against the Packers. Or more, the Packers played a lazy game against the Lions.
Yeah.
They could have come back. They missed some serious opportunities. Raiders are a good team.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Lions haven't been showing up in Detroit. Personally, and Calvin Johnson's just a big disappointment to me.
Yeah.
I think he's disappointing himself too. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I feel like the Raiders have a more complete team. Personally, they've been impressing me this season. I mean, I've never been a fan of the Raiders. I've always, tended to make fun of them, but this year they're turning heads, and I'm going to pick the Raiders.
Alright. I kind of see your points there, but...
I already know you're not going to pick them.
Look, like I've been saying...
I already know you're not going to pick them.
4 wins, they're not getting it. The Lions came off a big win. Regardless of how it came, it's still a huge win. You beat the unstoppable Green Bay Packers.
Well,
so they haven't won at Lambeau in 24 years.
Yeah.
Besides,
So, you know what? I think the Lions are on a bit of a high. Raiders not so much. Lions win.
Alright, well, let's see what happens in Irrelevant Bowl 2. Hopefully there aren't any more Irrelevant Bowls. I mean, this is turning into a pretty boring week for picks. Anyway, let's move on to the next game.
Next up, which might end up being Irrelevant Bowl 3 this week to some people, we got this guy's Colts in Atlanta to face off against the Falcons. Again, this guy can't talk. Michael, what's your pick?
Is Andrew Luck playing? So I don't know. Is he? No?
Nope, he's not.
Well, you know what? Either way, I'm going to pick the Colts in this one. I like Matt Hasselbeck. I think he's a really good backup. Falcons are... I think they're still going to make it. They're still going to make the playoffs, but they're crumbling. They're on the decline a little bit, so I'm going with the Colts to pull out the victory in Atlanta.
I'm really torn, to be honest with you, because I think any team can win it. But that being said, Falcons started off super hot, and the Colts have definitely not fully cleaned up their game, but they've definitely been playing better than earlier in the year. So I'm going to go with the Colts for his sake a little bit too, just to spice things up a bit. I don't know. I feel kind of like torn. I want to say Falcons just because they're more of a safe pick, but I see Hasselbeck maybe getting some more wins because he did win a couple games when he was playing earlier in the season. So let's hope that for this guy's sake, look at the stress on his face and the anxiety that they could get the W for him. See what happens next game.
So it's on to the next game, which is a matchup of deep blues and purples and golds. It's the St. Louis Rams at the Baltimore Ravens, so we could call this the R Bowl, I guess. Everything's a bowl now, or
it's an irrelevant bowl too. I mean, if you want to count it as that,
yeah, it is pretty irrelevant.
Anywhere,
yeah,
so.
The Rams are in a division that seems to belong pretty much exclusively to the Cardinals and Seahawks, and the Ravens belong in a division that has just boggled minds all season. You know, what you got, Mike?
Like I said, I always go back whenever I see a Ravens game that I need to pick. I always go back to my season, my week 1 pick of them winning the Super Bowl and how they disappointed me week after week. So I think it's time for the Rams to show up.
No Nick Foles, he's been benched.
Yeah.
You know what? Case Keenum is kind of like Kirk Cousins. He could have a good game here and there. So I think that this will be one of his good games. I'm going Rams.
I think he has a point. I think Case Keenum can make a case for himself.
No,
but seriously, I really like the St. Louis Rams in general. I think they're a young team, extremely young team that has a lot of upside. And like you said, when they all show up, they're all showing up.
they can beat anybody.
Yeah, Jeff Fisher's a great coach, and he's very feisty, and I feel like at home St. Louis performs one way, and on the road they seem to perform another way. It's almost like they enjoy the traveling.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, but I've been paying attention to them a lot this season because I thought they'd do a lot better than they have. And I think I'm going to pick the Rams as well, as an underdog pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you guys just because it's the Ravens. I mean, you lose to Jacksonville. I mean, I think that's the lowest of the low.
Yeah.
Although that field goal should not have been given to them at the end of the game, which the NFL has acknowledged. Regardless, to make it that close when you're a Super Bowl contender to basically a bottom feeder of the league for the last 2 decades.
I think they're throwing the pick to draft Connor McDavid.
Fail for nail.
Did that happen yet? Is that are we in the right league?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going with the Rams. So I guess we're all in the Rams on this one.
Yeah, it's a Ram kind of day for us. On to the next game. Let's see what happens. Rolling along the 1 o'clock games, we have next the Tampa Bay Buccaneers leaving the warm, beautiful sunshine of Florida to visit the haphazard and unfortunate Philadelphia in the cold. David can't talk. He's a big Eagles fan. We're not allowed to pick our teams. If you follow us, you know that. So we'll be doing a lot of talking. Who you got, Mike?
Well, you know what? It just so happens that this is a game that me and David are going to go to
it's true.
this Sunday.
The game, yeah.
So we're going to be going into Lincoln Financial Field. And I think for my sake and for his sake, I hope that they win. I don't want to die. Those Eagles fans could be pretty crazy. But no, I'm going to go with the Eagles just because I think that the Bucs, even though they have shown signs of improvement, Vincent Jackson's injured, and I think Winston is bound to have a little bit of an off game, couple, like a 2 TD, 3 interception game, so I think that's going to cost them. So I'm rolling with the Eagles.
Yeah, I think playing in the cold that's rolling into Philadelphia is going to have an effect on Winston's game. I don't know how many times he's played in the cold. I know a lot of quarterbacks, when the elements touch them, it does affect them. It happens to the best of them. Peyton Manning happened to him, except he won a Super Bowl in the rain. I remember that one. But no, I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers on. The Eagles, not the Buccaneers. Winston is gonna have a tough time with some snow-covered footballs or some frost-covered grass or something. Like you said, Vincent Jackson injured, and Lovie Smith was very happy after the win last week, but it didn't look like he was convinced. It looked like he said, "Doesn't this feel good, and shouldn't we do this every week?" That's not how winning works, Coach. You have to prepare them for that. So I think Chip Kelly has enough tools in his tool case to hit the Bucs up. So we'll pray for David. Hashtag pray for David, and hopefully the Eagles win. But we'll see what happens, and you guys will probably know before I do.
For my sake, please win, Eagles, please.
Yeah. So on to the next game.
Alrighty, next up we got the Denver Broncos and the benched Peyton Manning, or injured or whatever
Peyton
he is.
Benched?
Yeah.
I need to change my pick then.
I didn't even shoot the intro yet.
Yeah, okay. Anyway.
Coming in to the great city of Chicago to face off against the Bears. It's the Orange and Blue Bowl.
If I could interrupt you, this Orange and Blue Bowl is obviously exciting, but I mean, I just want to take a minute to acknowledge the greatness of the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand
how great it is. It's very great.
How phenomenal all the athletic teams in Chicago are. I mean, some may not be currently good, but they were all great at one point. It's a feat that very few cities can say they've accomplished, where every team has a championship. Cubs haven't had one in 100 years. Doesn't matter.
We're getting that.
Bears haven't had one in, 30 years, roughly that.
I'm not getting
The Bulls, it's been, 20 years? You know, we're coming up on...
It's
been a long time, but great city.
White Sox.
And as much as this seems like sarcasm, we're actually not talking in sarcasm.
No. We're big fans of Chicago. We're just here rubbing salt in the already salty wounds of Michael.
Blackhawks hater.
Yeah, he doesn't like the Blackhawks. That's for hockey. We'll do that another time.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to the Broncos and Bears, as you said. I think the choice would have been obvious a week ago if we didn't know that Peyton Manning's feet were trying to kill him.
Brock Osweiler.
Yeah, and the only Brock I've ever liked was in Pokemon. So I don't think
you don't like Lesnar?
Huh? No. Lesnar. 2 Brocks that are good. And Barack Obama.
Yeah.
His name's Brock, right? Who is from Chicago. Now we're getting somewhere.
There you go.
Nah, I'm gonna pick the Bears in a surprise.
Really?
In a surprise, shocking turn of events.
John Fox return against his old team.
Yeah, it's gonna probably end 6-3. Seriously, I'm 100% serious when I say that. As good as the Broncos' defense is, they can't score any points without Peyton. So I mean, if Osweiler throws another 7 interceptions and gives away the game, I don't see the Broncos coming through with this one.
Michael?
You know what? Probably around 2 weeks ago, I thought that this would be an easy call. It's a bit harder now.
I just realized that you hate the city of Denver for football and you hate the city of Chicago for hockey.
Yes.
You must be really torn with this
actually,
one.
I hate the city of Chicago just because it's I hate all the teams there. It's not only the Blackhawks. I don't like the Cubs. I definitely don't like the Bulls.
For no reason, he doesn't watch those sports. He just
and I don't like the Bears.
Cute clip of Predators losing to the Hawks.
Yeah, I think it's just the salt, the tap water over there.
Yeah,
I think it just doesn't like a taste.
Yeah, well, no, I think it's more of like those bandwagon fans. But that is besides the point.
We have family hear this all day.
You know what?
We have family that lives in Chicago, and that apparently doesn't mean anything to me there. But
anyways, either way, I was kind of leaning towards the upset with the Bears, but I realized just how great the Broncos defense is. Even last week where Peyton was just giving the ball away to Kansas City like it was nothing, they only scored like 23 points.
Yeah.
Considering they always had good field position.
I would say this: Kansas City, in my eyes, this season without Jamal Charles is a worse team than the Chicago Bears are this season.
It depends.
The way they're playing.
It depends on how the Bears play. Because look, if the good Jake Keller comes out and they're all on point and they're playing well and John Fox kind of knows what to do because he's coached them.
Hopefully it's a full moon so the good Jay Cutler does come out.
I'd like to see a good game, but I'm going to give the edge to Denver. That defense is just too good.
We're split. David is for the decider here.
It's tough. It's really tough, but I think more last week was the fact that no one expected the Peyton to go down or give the ball away that easily also. And the defense wasn't ready for such an extreme attack from the Chiefs because of their crazy field position pretty much the whole game. I think they'll be a lot more prepared this week. They know Manning is not playing, so it's set in stone. They're preparing for it. Their defense is going to step up, and I think it's going to win them the game with a pick 6 from Cutler. So Broncos win for me.
All right, let's see if it's an upset or business as usual in Chicago this Sunday. Next game. All right, so this week we have another Jets game against a team of red, white, and blue.
Another irrelevant bowl.
Yeah, another irrelevant bowl. It didn't start out that way. At the beginning of the season, I don't think people thought this would be an irrelevant bowl, but a lot of things this season have gone really wrong for the NFL.
Yeah.
It's the Jets at the Texans. And I'm going to save my pick for last. What do you guys think? What do you think, Mike?
I think the Texans are a bit of a really weird team because last week they showed that they beat a team that they really shouldn't have beaten.
At home.
At home, and then they lost to a team in the Dolphins that they really should have beaten.
Should have creamed.
So I'm a bit torn, but you know what? I really like the Jets defense. I like Chris Ivory. I don't like their quarterbacks very much, but I'm a believer in just running that rock, and that defense is top notch. So I'm gonna go with the more obvious pick in the Jets.
What do you think, Dave?
I think the Jets are the obvious pick, and I think J.J. Watt last week disappointed a lot of people with his comments at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Like Andy Dalton said, a lot of kids look up to this guy, and I don't want to sound like a parent now, but truth is that he said where are all the haters at? I'm like, they're still there. You haven't proved anything. You got one game.
We won a regular season game.
Yeah, exactly. Like
raise the banner. We won Monday Night Football.
Exactly. It's like take it easy, relax. I think T.J. Yates is also undefeated against the Bengals.
Yeah, it's just like a perfect storm.
Yeah. So
Dalton never plays well against.
As much as J.J. Watt had a good game last week, and yes, he should be confident, happy with his team with his win. I think he should have kept the comments low, and I think not to say karma or anything like that, but in the end, they're still the Texans, and the Jets have a great team on paper. On the field, they haven't played up to their expectations for the most part, especially on defense, which a lot of people thought was going to be a top defense in this league. It's been a little bit shaky at times. So I think the Jets are going to take it in easy fashion.
Well, I think the Bills beat the Jets, right? If I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I had picked the Jets
colorblind,
to beat them. Yeah, in the colorblind bowl.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, the jerseys were one color each, so people that were colorblind were confused as to what was happening on the screen.
The Rough Riders versus the Stampeders.
Yes, in similar fashion. But I think the Jets, they got good things going on. They're more organized as a unit. It's more attributed to errors than anything. They just got to control that, and I think they'll have not an easy time with the Texans because they are a little more confident. They might have a little more juice, flowing through.
I think I've been overconfident. Actually.
Yeah, they're out of the funk, but again, it's that thing where it's the Texans, and they tend to only play well against the AFC South, and it seems the Bengals. So I mean, I'm gonna pick the Jets too. I think I'm in a New York state of mind this week. But we'll see what happens. The Texans can't be taken lightly anymore. They did beat an undefeated team, so that does say something.
Yeah.
And they didn't let a lot of points in on a great offense.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I think Brandon Marshall's gonna have a breakout week. He hasn't had one in a while.
Yep.
So I'm gonna call that too. We'll see what happens. Next game.
So next up is another rough one.
Yeah.
From last week's very weird schedule, from all the games, we got the Washington racist Redskins in Carolina to play the Panthers.
Yeah.
Who do you have?
All right. Well, first of all, I'd like to draw attention to how racist the Washington Redskins name is, and how incredible it is that they managed to keep it, even though they know and have acknowledged that it is in fact racist.
Mm-hmm.
That in itself is sort of a victory for racism,
Mm-hmm.
and indirectly a victory for the team. That being said, yeah. That being said, I don't hate the Redskins personally.
I do.
I really like Kirk Cousins as a guy. I think he's a really cool all around. You
like them?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that Kirk Cousins guy. And that being said, though, they're in Carolina, which usually has inclement weather already to begin with.
Yeah.
Panthers are really good at home.
Mm-hmm.
They're undefeated. That being said, I think a lot of people are going to pick the Panthers solely based on that, and disregard that the Redskins lit up the New Orleans Saints to the point where they got Rob Ryan fired.
Yeah.
That is a big deal. I like the way the Redskins play. Their defense is underrated in my opinion. They get a bit lucky at times, but I'm going to pick the Redskins as an upset this week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Streak has ended.
Yeah, the last team to be undefeated will be the New England Patriots.
Michael?
While I do agree with you that the New England Patriots will be the last team undefeated, I do not see the Panthers losing to the very, very, very lucky Redskins team. I mean, this team just, I don't know, every 3 weeks they play well. I mean, what is wrong? Do they go to practice like in that 1 week and then the other 2 weeks they don't do anything?
I call them and tell them when to win.
Okay. Did you call them this week?
I won't say.
Either way, the things with the Panthers that Ron Rivera, even though they're undefeated and they're like a relatively young team that's dealing with quite a bit of success, he keeps them humble and he keeps them wanting to work hard and get better and better. So I'm gonna go with the Panthers on this one.
I don't know if you can call Cam Newton humble, but
that guy. Anyways, I'm not gonna say anything. I hate
He's
both
pumped,
teams
man. He's pumped up
so much. Carolina is easily the luckiest team in football. They got the easiest schedule going down the stretch. For the most part, at least the last 3 weeks have been like a breeze. They're at home again, might I add. They're playing a Redskins team that, like you said, plays good once every 3-4 weeks. And considering they played really well last week, that means this week, in terms of pattern,
they've used up their goodness.
Yeah, they're gonna lose. Again, the Panthers are due for a loss, and they are gonna get one. Not this week, unfortunately. And for divisional purposes, I kind of need the Panthers to win. So I'm going Panthers.
All right, let's see what happens in the next game. Ladies and gentlemen, it's come to the greatest game of the week for most Americans. As America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, getting Tony Romo back, and he gets a mini vacation in Miami. What better? What do you got, Mike? It's like coming back from vacation on vacation.
Yeah. As much as I hate both teams,
they're both very hateable.
I don't know. Just
Endangered species and a star.
Yeah.
Very interesting selection of logos that they have. Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys on this one. Unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say, just because that Romo's back. That's the only reason why. If he wasn't back, I'd go Dolphins all the way. But I think he provides a psychological boost, and also his play is much better than Matt Castle. But he'll energize the team. He'll play well, and they're gonna come out with a win.
I think Matt Castle did a decent job with the situation he was in.
Put up 6 points against the Bucks.
It's not bad. They lost 10-6, so But again,
that's not saying much.
Matt Castle's one of those quarterbacks that's an enigma. Also, he played so well in New England, replacing Brady, which he's in New England, right? But you're replacing Tom Brady, and he played really well. Then he gets to Kansas City, does okay.
Yeah.
Not good enough to stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he ends up in Minnesota, and then he ends up in Buffalo, and then he ends up in Dallas.
Yeah.
So it's been a rough road for him. So you had your chance, but anyway, kind of blew it.
Yeah.
But I like him as a player in general. I appreciate what he did.
Me too. He gave me a huge leverage to not be last in the division.
Phenomenal.
So.
But that being said, Tony Romo's been tweeting some stuff, pump up his teammates. I think he tweeted a clip from Major League about there's only one thing left to do. What's that? Win the whole effing thing. And he just tweeted that with a wink, saying, "I got this." So hopefully he can deliver on it, which he rarely has. But he's a great quarterback, and his absence really shows. And the Cowboys came close without him to winning some games here and there.
10-6.
Yeah, but their offense is built around Romo. I mean, that's all it is. I mean, he has to throw the ball right. People don't appreciate how good he is as a quarterback. He's not the most cerebral quarterback, but physical ability, he's got it. I say. So I'm gonna go with Cowboys on this one too.
I already know you're not gonna pick.
I'm not picking the Cowboys.
It's gonna go.
Look, I am picking. I picked them week 1.
Team.
I did when they play against each other.
Exactly when you put anybody against the Giants.
When he has no choice.
Okay, but I am picking the Dolphins. Yes, I am. Even though they beat the Eagles by complete crap. Excuse my language.
Absolute miracle.
I mean, I don't understand.
Jarvis Landry.
Yeah. Okay. If he took 3 steps to the right, all the defenders on the Eagles would have seen. Oh, okay, the ball's still in play. He didn't move. He just looked up and it fell in his arms like a baby falling out of the sky. That's why the Eagles defense didn't play on that. They got lucky. Anyways, back to this game. I'm picking the Dolphins, but I do see the Cowboys winning it, and the hype of Cowboys Nation is all riling up, and then they lose the rest of the game.
And they lose the rest of the game.
Tony Romo's back, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, so I'm picking Dolphins, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys win.
Okay, so Dolphins, Cowboys. We'll see what happens. We'll see if America can find its team again and make America great again. Donald Trump plug right there.
Yeah.
Hashtag pray for Cowboys.
China.
Next game.
So we got an AFC West showdown. We got Michael's enemies in the Chiefs versus Michael's other enemies in the Chargers. For the 4 o'clock game, what do you have?
I'm going to call this the Cha-Cha because it's Chiefs Chargers. So we'll call it the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah.
How about that?
It's in Cali.
Yep, it is. So the demographic is right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call the promoters actually for this game. I have a proposition.
You meet a guy on the plane or something?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but there's already a Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, I know. But
Tostitos Fiesta Bowl.
We'll spell it different with 2 dots on the I.
2 E's.
Yeah, 2 E's. Fiesta. I hate the Chargers for many reasons for what they've done to the Colts over the years. Totally underperformed and just show up against them. I don't know what their problem is, but fine. And the Chiefs are just very disappointing this year. A lot of people thought they'd at least make the playoffs again. You know, Jamal Charles being such an inspirational player. He is truly a great player. Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate what's happening in Kansas City. That being said, they scored 23 points against a really good Broncos defense, which means they're still capable of doing some damage.
Yeah.
But that was, like you said, due to great field position given by all those picks.
Yeah.
Uncharacteristic Peyton. We found out he was injured after, so there's that.
Mm-hmm.
They're in San Diego, but I don't think that's helped the Chargers too much in the past. I mean, I feel like they're 500 anyway.
Yeah.
So I want to say Chiefs, but something's telling me the Chargers are due for a win. Just based on that home advantage, I'm gonna go Chargers on this one.
All right, Michael.
I hate both teams, but I really hope both lose. But since that's not the case,
Division.
I'm gonna go with a team that is really starting to scare me, which is the Chiefs. I don't know how or what's happening. No, it's not Andy Reid. No, it's not Andy Reid. It's that defense is really top notch. Marcus Peters is one of the better cornerbacks in the league, and it's his rookie season. The guy's playing really well. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs on this. They're 1-5. Everyone's like they're not gonna make the playoffs. They're back in the mix. They might have renewed energy, and I think they're gonna pull off the win in San Diego.
I'm agreeing with Michael. I gotta say the Chiefs again. It's the Andy Reid bias. This one is full on Andy Reid bias because both teams have been disappointing this year. I think the Chargers a bit more though overall.
Hugely.
So yeah, I think J Mac and Andy Reid take the win.
Yeah. Well, I picked another upset. Let's see if it catastrophically fails.
Upset City.
Which is probably gonna happen, or if you guys are right, then the Chiefs win. Really tough game to pick.
Yeah.
We'll see next Sunday on the next game. The Minnesota Bowl. Next game on the schedule, it's the Minnesota Vikings versus their neighboring Wisconsin Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
This is a division game. A lot of storylines going in. A lot of surprises going in. A lot of weird things happening again in the NFL.
Yeah.
Who you got, Mike?
I had the unfortunate displeasure of watching the Vikings play my Raiders last week.
I think they won.
They won.
The Vikings beat the Raiders.
The
Raiders
Raiders
lost. Yeah.
We lost. Yes. Yeah. Stop reminding me.
There's another L in the Raiders loss Colin, there's one more L in their record. Yeah, the Raiders lost.
Keep on mentioning.
The Raiders? Yeah, the Raiders lost.
Raiders
Yes,
lost,
they did.
yeah.
Okay. From what I've seen last week, the Vikings have a very, very underrated defense.
Extremely.
No one is a true stud on that team.
No.
They have Harrison Smith, who's a very good.
Speaks to their coach.
Yeah, and they're very disciplined. They know what they're doing, and that defense is really good. One guy who I'm not too impressed with is Bridgewater. He's more or less the game manager this season. Everybody's saying he's going to be better than Carr, he's going to be better than Bortles. I really haven't seen any growth from him. I know different things are going to be asked of him now that Adrian Peterson's back this season, who's playing amazing from what I've seen last week. So, and the Packers are riding a really big low. So, you know what? It's in Minnesota. I'm going to go with the Vikings.
Yeah, I feel that Vikings defense is terribly underrated. And I feel like the Packers are almost expecting to win now. And that has a big effect on a team. The Detroit game, Detroit could have won by more. I mean, when you think about it, they missed 2 extra points and they beat the Packers. That speaks to some structural problem that is not being solved. I can't tell you what it is because this is not a much different team than the one that won the Super Bowl. It's not super different.
No.
And that being said, the Vikings team is not insanely different from last season's team besides the Adrian Peterson factor, which does help with clock management. I will say that.
That's the thing.
That is a huge deal.
They're not going to beat you by putting up insane points.
Yeah.
They're just going to beat you by controlling the game.
Running the clock out.
Yeah.
Like you said, the Vikings defense is one of the stingiest in the NFL, and no one's talking about them. No one is saying a word about this Vikings defense.
Yeah.
They're not making headlines. You might hear them on the countdown, but they're very underrated. It's interesting to see them play, and I think the Vikings can pull an upset. I think a lot of people are going to pick the Packers because they're due for a break in this streak of madness.
Yeah.
But I think the Vikings can do it.
I'm going to agree again. I say Vikings take it. It's at home. Green Bay is on an extreme low right now.
It's a division game, so it's a wild card.
Yeah, but if there were to be a game where Green Bay needed to win and make a statement, it would be this week. But I'm actually going to go ahead and say that I don't even see the Packers making the playoffs this year. I say that the trend continues and Vikings end up winning the division.
Bold prediction.
I think
Doritos bold prediction right there.
Non-sponsored.
I think you took it a bit too far. Vikings are going to win the division, but Packers, they're going to make the wild card, and we all know how dangerous they are when they make the wild card.
I think that the NFC West.
They tend to lose their venom in the NFC finals.
Yeah, that too.
Against the Seahawks.
Yeah, it's onside kicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we're all wearing purple this week.
Yeah, we're purple people eaters this week. Let's see what happens. On to the next game.
Yeah. Another divisional matchup. This time NFC West. The 49ers are in Seattle with the Seahawks.
Yep.
A bit of a weird one, but what do you have?
I think the 49ers are terrible. I think the Seahawks lost at home and they're mad about it. This was not in prime time.
No.
But usually these lead-up games tend to be kind of weird. I mean, the Colts beat the Broncos in a non-prime time game, and it was like a pre-prime time scenario. I think the Seahawks are a really good team, and the Cardinals were a much better team as far as execution on offense.
Yeah.
And the game was very close till the end.
They came back.
Yeah, they really clawed back and showed character. And I think they're just letting a lot of stuff get to them, and I think that's not gonna happen against the 49ers. I think Pete Carroll's a better coach than Tom Sula, and I give it to the Seahawks.
You know what? Yeah, last week I said Seahawks are gonna start winning. That Sunday nighter.
Little did you know that Bruce Arians is the greatest thing of all time.
Little did I know that Bruce Arians is still alive. But. I'm still sticking with that. I think Seahawks. I think this and maybe next, if they have 1 or 2 more losses, that's the last straw. But I'm gonna get this could be a tricky one. Could be because Blaine Gabbert's playing. I think Niners are a bit under the radar, but I think Seahawks are gonna come out on top in this one in a very low scoring match, 16-3 or whatever.
So concurrence. How about you, Dave?
Yeah, The Niners suck this year. I mean, Patrick Willis said that he's not even remotely considered.
After all those players left, they're gonna call themselves the San Francisco 10. Because there's no one left. That Super Bowl losing team.
Yeah. And the Seahawks are mad. They lost. I think just like you said with Green Bay, where they're sort of expecting to win at this point. They expect their defense to always make big plays. Yeah. And I think that's biting them, especially considering their offense is like... It's either like making drives down the field and scoring big points, or they're 3-and-out. It's one or the other. But look, it's in Seattle. I don't think Blaine Gabbert has enough to stop that defense from making plays on him and whatnot or whatever. I think Reggie Bush is out too.
Yeah.
So a lot of factors playing into the Niners not being the Niners we've known to like throughout the last couple of years. So Seahawks win in easy fashion.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on that one.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. On to the next game.
Yeah.
All right, we call this the alphabetical bowl because it's BC. Bengals, Cardinals, orange versus red. A lot of conflicting colors there.
Mm-hmm.
This is a tough game. Bengals coming off a really tough loss. Cardinals coming off a really great victory.
Yep.
In prime time on Monday Night Football.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Monday Night Football. Who you got, David?
If they didn't lose last week, the Bengals, I think it would have been a lot easier of a pick. I do think they're mad. I do think they're going to play well, and last week was more of a hiccup than anything else.
Brain fart.
Yeah, but the Cards have been extremely consistent this year for the most part. The last couple of weeks, they've been firing on all cylinders. Mm-hmm. Bruce Arians, as you love to say, is a great coach. Carson Palmer is proving that his stint in Oakland was just a thing of people should forget as soon as possible.
He played pretty decent.
Yeah, 8-8. But anyways,
this is really good for the Raiders.
Yeah. I'm picking the Cards. I think the Bengals are gonna hit their low now. I think they'll come back eventually, like maybe in a week or two down the stretch. They'll recapture their form. But right now they're playing too tough of a team for them to make a win.
Yep. What do you think, Mike?
It's a bit of a tough one, but I was very impressed by the Cardinals' win in Seattle, and not only that, but the way they won. How Seattle came back, and I believe they were leading at one point.
Yep.
And they just
The Seahawks have had a lead in every game.
Oh yeah.
I believe since the first Super Bowl they made.
They've lost the last couple of games. I think like 4 or 5 that they've had the lead going into the fourth quarter.
Yes, but they've had a lead in the fourth quarter. I think every single game, many games. I remember hearing that stat and just being blown away.
Yeah.
That being said, picking the Seahawks.
I'm gonna pick the Cardinals. Wrong game.
Oh yeah. My God, I'm back in Monday night time. I'm out of it.
Yeah, we were just talking about a team that
yeah, nothing to do with that. Because we jumped back to anyway. Yeah.
Why did we bring up the Seahawks?
Because of Monday Night Football.
Yeah. Oh my God.
We should have talked about that. Anyway, yeah.
Michael, go on.
I'm gonna go with the Cards. They're playing well, and they impressed me last week.
What'd you put in my water, Dave? I gotta make my pick now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick the Seahawks now. Bengals dropped the ball hard against the Texans. I think it brought a lot of people back to reality. That the game's got to be played.
Yeah.
To decide who wins.
Yeah.
And Bruce Arians, if I can make a bold statement here, is the next Bill Belichick. I'm going Cardinals on this one. They're at home. Carson Palmer playing great. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald is the epitome of a great player.
Yeah.
He's like on the same level as Jamal Charles in my book.
Class
a guy who just exudes class,
yeah.
Plays the position perfectly, not a loudmouth, not proud of anything until he's done something serious.
Mm-hmm.
Always respectful. Let's move on to the Monday night special this week. Live. Pre-taped.
Another divisional matchup in the Monday Nighter on ESPN or TSN, depending on where you live. Us in Canada, we watch it on that. It's the Red, White, and Blue Bowl.
Mm-hmm. The America Bowl.
The America Bowl. It's the Bills in New England to face off against the Patriots.
Yeah. I think we've all answered our own question by saying in New England.
Yep. Michael, what's your pick?
You know what? I don't think I've ever seen Rex Ryan beat the Pats.
Oh, he's obsessed with it.
We
know that.
It's the bane of his existence.
His life goal is to beat the Pats, and he can never do it. Like I don't get this guy. Like if I prepared that much, I could beat the Pats. I think
they'll probably know that you prepared and counter
prepare
by cheating.
Exactly. Yeah.
They'd spy on my
not by preparing more, being better by cheating.
Yeah, definitely. It's all the cheating.
You know, I think like you said, we answered it. It's prime time. It's in New England.
Yeah.
Brady's still alive. Belichick's still alive. Patriots all the way.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this. Rex Ryan's brother just got fired, so he's probably at his house eating a lot of pizza. Not focusing on the football games. Probably a lot of phone calls. Stop crying. The Patriots are rolling right along, full steam ahead. Mm-hmm. They hit a little bump with the Giants, but I think there's more a psychological thing, and just I feel like Tom Coughlin knows exactly what's going on over there, and he knows what to shove in. But if he did, he'd probably beat more teams.
That guy's older than electricity. So.
Yeah. I think he was there when Thomas Edison. I think he was the first test of the light bulb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He has the same glasses.
Yeah, same glasses. And just the Patriots are a machine. They're a well-oiled machine. The Bills are a team that did the classic, what we all said would happen, 2 wins, and then the S hit the F, and just they became the Bills again.
Yeah.
And within weeks, the new coach had no impact anymore. The young quarterback that was playing so well in the first 2 games disappeared. Mm-hmm. The defense disappeared. Mm-hmm. And since, I think they've only won against the division. Could it be? The Dolphins, the Jets.
It's possible, yeah.
It's possible. I don't know if it's 100%, but that represents quite a bit of their wins. Yeah. Patriots win against everybody, so it's easy pick for me, Patriots.
I think the Patriots are the only team where you could say it's a divisional matchup, and that doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter at all.
Because they always win.
Yep.
Like if it's any other team, undefeated Seahawks versus the winless Rams, and the Rams would somehow come with a victory. Any division, NFC East, forget it. That's a weekly thing. Every week we go through it. But the Patriots, you can't say that. They're obviously throughout their history, there've been some hiccups here and there, but that's because there's been good teams in that division. This year, not so much.
It used to be the only teams that could beat them were the elite of the elite teams.
Yeah. So I don't think there's much more to say. The Bills, although they've been playing a bit better the last couple of weeks, I don't think they have enough to stop Brady. Pat's win. He's under the lights. He thrives under that. So.
Well, let's see what happens. Last week we did pretty poorly. A lot of upsets, a lot of weird games.
In my history of watching football, which has been over a decade now, it's by far been one of the most craziest weeks where literally every game you're like, what?
Yeah. At least 5 to 6 insane upsets.
It's like Stone Cold's watching the game.
Exactly.
What? Just this whole season, very strange.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same as every other season, but it's closer. Everything's so much closer.
Yeah.
Usually the divisions are won before the season starts.
Yeah.
Ravens being irrelevant, Packers being questionable to win the division, Seahawks being questionable to even make the playoffs.
Yeah. Raiders are finally relevant.
Raiders are in the mix. They're in the mix.
Raiders are relevant.
They're in the playoff picture.
Anyways.
Colts are a non-factor pretty much. Yeah. It's been weird. So keep posted. This is why we do these predictions for you, so that your bets can be placed more safely, even though we drop the ball sometimes. We'll say we pulled a Dalton last week.
Yeah.
Anyway, tune in next week for 3SB Predicts NFL Week 12. We'll see you then.